And now we're going to talk about creating a mesh shape from a NURBS shape. First of all, we're going to create something a little more complicated. In this case, I'm going to start with a sphere. Then I'm going to use a curve. And create a simple curve like that. Use my revolve command. Press OK. So this is what we end up with. Now at this point, I'm going to use my Boolean union tool. As you can see, it didn't quite work. Sometimes Boolean union will actually subtract one of your objects. Usually when that happens, you need to make a small adjustment, move one of the objects slightly, and then try again. This time it's not actually going for it. I'm going to delete my curve that I started out with here. And we're going to wait, and we're going to join these two shapes after we turn them into mesh. I'm going to do them separately. I'm going to go to Tools, Polygon Mesh, from NURBS Object. Now here, as you can see, is my slider. Lets me control how complex it is. I can choose Detailed Control to specify things one at a time. But simple controls for our needs is going to be just fine. Fewer polygons means quicker. Less polygons, less detail. A little rougher shape, and of course more polygons, smoother shape. It starts at the middle. I'll leave it right there, which is fine because a sphere is a fairly simple shape, so I'll press OK. As you can see, a sphere that is mesh has been added. My solid, my original sphere, remains, so I'm going to press the delete key. Pretty good. It looks pretty good as a sphere. To compare, let's try it again. This time I'll go all the way to the bottom, press OK. That's the very simplest version of that sphere that I can make as far as turning it into a polygon mesh. So we'll undo that. Go back up to about here, delete. And now you can slightly see the faces on it. It looks a little rough, but still pretty good, so we'll leave that. Now we'll select our base. The base is a pretty complex shape, so we'll knock it down one more. Press OK. Delete the original. And this is what we have. If I had actually increased it, you can take a look here. We see a very smooth sort of shape. And then, of course, these are polygon meshes, but they can still be used with a lot of my transform tools. Any tool that works on an object with control points, as far as manipulating the control points, can work in this situation. And with a quick mirror, you can see what could be the beginning of a pretty interesting project of 3D meshes. So again, with a simple sphere, Tools, Polygon Mesh from NURBS Object. If I increase, I get a very dense sphere. It looks perfectly round. And I can also decrease, which in some cases, like this, could make something fairly interesting. For example, our inner sphere here, the mesh, is actually very angular, as you can see. Well, if I increase, I'm going to turn on ortho and turn off snap for a very fine level of control. If I increase the size of my inner sphere just slightly, now you can actually see both, one poking through the other. So some interesting effects can be done when you take into account that turning an object into a polygon mesh is going to slightly change the shape. sometimes it can change it in a way that makes it more interesting to use.